If you do these 4 simple things, you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of any other beginner photographer. Hello everyone and welcome to this brand new YouTube video. My name is Chinmay Puranik and I've been a wildlife photographer for over half a decade. I've traveled across India to photograph some of its most fantastic wildlife. And I post all of my content on TikTok and Instagram, so make sure you check it out. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 4 extremely important pieces of advice that I've learned over my photography journey. Now these 4 points are going to put you miles ahead of other beginner photographers. But before I share them, I want you guys to go down and subscribe to my channel because 1, it means a lot to me, and 2nd, I'm going to be making these videos weekly, so I don't want you to miss any of them. Now that you have subscribed, let's get right into it with number 1, rent equipment. I've seen so many people shy away from renting equipment and using rental equipment, but if you're not doing it, you're missing out on a golden opportunity. Different combinations of camera equipment are going to give you different results. So when you go out to a rental shop, you're going to be able to play with cameras, lenses, other accessories, and that way you find out about equipment, and that way you find out which equipment you actually like. But if you're filthy rich, you can just ignore this piece of advice. Go out, buy any equipment that you want to try, and the ones you don't like, please send them to me. Thank you. Number 2 is invest in a good quality camera body. Now let's face it, camera equipment is extremely expensive. That's why I told you to rent it in the first place. But when people decide to buy a camera, they often go for a camera and lens combo. That's when they make the mistake of buying cheaper lenses and cheaper cameras just to make sure they have the whole thing. Realistically speaking, I know both of them are very important, but a good quality camera body with a mediocre lens is always going to beat a mediocre body with a good lens. And you can always rent lenses. A bonus advice for this piece is that when you're going to buy the actual camera body, make sure you prioritize getting a mirrorless camera. With camera company giants like Nikon and Canon, they've already said that they're not going to be developing any more DSLRs and that the future of cameras is mirrorless. So make sure you keep this in mind when you invest in a camera body. Make sure you let me know which equipment you're using right now in the comment section. And now we move on to number 3, which is learn about your own equipment. Now I'm just like you guys. Whenever a company comes out saying, oh, we have this new camera with 40 FPS, 50 megapixel, this and that, I'm already invested. I'm going to spend hours on end reading about it, for sure. But if you're reading about the Sony Alpha 1 but you have a Nikon D70-200 in your hand, it's not really going to help you with your photography, is it? Well, if you don't know what your camera is capable of, you'll never get the best results from it. So here's one exercise that you can do right now. Take your camera, sit down with it and go through its menu. Now you can read which parts you don't know about, then you note them down and you can look them up. Many of these terms are not just limited to your camera. So you're basically learning more about camera equipment as a whole. If you find something that you can't really understand even after reading, make sure to comment it down and I'll make a whole video on it. Before we go on to number 4, have you liked this video yet? I mean, you're still here, so you must be interested. So make sure you hit that like button right now. Go, 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 go. Let's do it. Now the 4th and last point of this whole video is don't stick to one genre. Now this piece of advice has a story behind it. So I've been a wildlife photographer, but more specifically, I'm a bird photographer. So back in undergrad, when my friend asked me to go herping, which is going out in the forest at night, searching for snakes, I was kind of indecisive. But you know, I took the chance and went with it. That one trip later turned into many trips and I slowly fell in love with reptiles. Because of that, I started doing macro photography. Because of that, I started using accessories like external flashes and diffusers for those flashes, which I would have never used if I had stuck to bird photography. Through all of those trips, I've learned a lot about these reptiles and I've learned a lot about photography as well. And in the future, I really want to get into landscape, street and underwater photography. What I'm trying to say is, as a photographer, there's so much out there to explore and you should never box yourself up as a so-and-so photographer. If you do these 4 simple things, you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of any other beginner photographer. That is all for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you do try any of these 4 points, make sure to tell me in the comment section, or you can shoot me a DM on my Instagram, link in description. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next Sunday.